If you would have told me 15 years ago that the piece of lead on the end of this jig head means more than any color or hook or whatever you're throwing, whether or not you're going to have a crappy taco or a skunk, I probably would have told you that you were crazy. You know, nowadays I've seen it all. I've tried probably every color under the sun. And I mean, let's be honest, I watch fish bite my lures in real time for like the past 5 years, but that's not what this video is about. I really just want to explain how important jig head sizes are to make or break your day on the water. So stay tuned with me, watch throughout the entire video. If you learned something from this video, let me know down below. We're going to dive right into the thing with jig heads. You know, there's 3 different sizes that, you know, are pretty much the most popular sizes, and that would be, hang on, give me one second. That would be a 164. Not a lot of people throw a 164. You've got a 132. Probably 50% of people throw that. And then you've got a 116. Now, probably 120,000% throw a 116. There's been so many people I've been fishing with on live scope trips or whatever. This is the only jig they know to throw. People on the bank, they're throwing a 1/16. People fishing anywhere are throwing 1/16, whether or not it's working or not. And that's kind of where all of this starts to make sense. Because, I mean, let's be honest. You're trying to start crappie fishing, pan fishing, whatever. The things that you find at your local Walmart, your box stores, are going to be 132s or 1/16. You may find the occasional 164 here and there. And there's also a weight in between all the 132 and the 116 that I do like to throw, and that's a 124 ounce. Now, you know, and that's kind of why everybody is throwing a 116, because that's the most readily available weight. I didn't sell 116s for a couple years, but now I have them available, and I sell a lot more 116s than anything right now. You know, logically, a lot of people are going to say they use a 116 because they get to the fish faster. And to be honest, growing up, I used a 132 more because Dad used a 164, and I felt like I was getting to the fish before he was able to catch them because he was that good at fishing. But nowadays, I kind of realized that he was catching more because he was using the 164. We're going to break all that down. So I'm just trying to set the tone of the video right now. So now the big question and the title of today's video is, does size matter? And why does it matter? So I'm Stephen Turner with Turner Fishing. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a return viewer, hey, what's up? How you doing? Size does definitely matter. And we're going to break this down into probably 3 sections real quick. And we're going to start with the 1/16. So the 1/16 is a very versatile jig head size. You know, and throughout this entire video, we're going to be talking in parentheses over soft plastics and hand ties. Because either one of them play a big deal throughout the entire year, whether they're going to bite or not. Now, hand ties do have a little bit faster rate of fall because soft plastic floats. So keep that in mind throughout the video. And we just throw in jig heads everywhere. Come on now. We back. All right. So a 1/16 is your everyday go-to first cast of the day. Pulling jigs, tight lining, whatever. A 1/16 will get you down to 20 feet in a matter of seconds. It has very, very good skipability, castability. You could cast this thing 30 to 40 feet without any issues on 6 to 8 pound test line. 4 pound test, you can get out to 50 feet if you make a good cast. So why is that important? If you're fishing brush piles, docks, bridges, whatever it may be, it's definitely important where those fish are positioned. Now, if you're fishing a brush pile in 30 feet of water, your brush tops out at about 15 feet of water, or, you know, about 20 feet, because, I mean, a 15-foot brush pile, that's kind of big. Come on now, Steven. Stay with me. So if you're fishing, let's just break it down a little bit easier. 20 feet of water, your brush top's about 5 feet tall, so you're roughly fishing 15 feet of water, because you got to subtract where that brush stops and the fish start. So if you're throwing out, you find fish on 2D, you see them on the side scan, and you throw out a 1/16. All right, this jig Say, this is the brush pile. My hand's the brush pile. This one right here. Brush pile. If you throw a 1/16 ounce and you put a marker buoy on this brush pile, wide scope, however you're fishing this brush pile, this 1/16 is going to fall. And then when you pick your rod up, it's going to swoosh. Well, not that fast. I mean, you know, it's going to swoosh past these fish. Now, you're going to be left with option A, B, and C. A, you're going to have fish that want to cooperate. With this fast rate of fall, it's not even going to make it to the brush. They're going to come out the brush and eat your jig. On those days, everybody's a happy camper. Happy, happy, happy. Everybody's doing the jig dance. Because you're going to catch a boatload of fish really quick. Because on that given day, the fish want to bite. But as we know as fishermen, that ain't the case all the time. So now we got option B. And that is you throw this on top of the brush pile. You got the fish suspended on top of the brush. Because remember, guys, if the fish ain't suspending, you ain't living. So it swooshes by them. All right, option B. They want to chase this bait. But they don't want to chase it that fast. So X marks the spot on that one. Because you're not going to get a bite on a 1/16 if they don't want to chase too far. Because this jig's going to go way too fast. And then you've got the rare occasion of option C. And that is you cast past the brush, you let the jig fall, and you crank it by them at a steady rate, and they want to chase it and bite a faster moving jig. So, what do you take from all that? Because I know I've been explaining that for 4 minutes on one jig, and you're probably like, okay, what the hell does that even mean? Basically, take 20 casts on a brush pile with a 1/16 with a Crappie Man jigs on it. If you hover it above them and let it go by, they don't bite. Okay. Throw it out there, let it go down and go right past them. They don't bite. All right. Throw it past them, wind it through them. They don't bite. Okay. So you're left with two options at that point. A, you go over there and you get on top of the brush and you drop your jig down and you hover it above them to see if they'll bite it. Now, we're going to be covering that just a little bit later on in the video, so make sure you stay tuned. If you made it this far in the video, let me know down below. So, now, the second option is to switch jig head sizes. Now, from a 1/16, what am I going to go to? A lot of people are probably going to say, oh, a 132. No. If they're not going to chase the 1/16, I'm going to a 1/64. Right off the rip. You know, normally I have two rods on the deck. One's with a 1/64 and one's with a 1/16. You know, a 132 is kind of got that special place in my heart right now that it's really good for duck. But I mean, we're left with the other option. You pick the other option. You pick up a 1/64. Now, the fall rate of all these jigs can be tested out yourself. Get in 5 feet of water, throw your jig out, count down how long it takes to hit the bottom, and adjust from there. So, you put on a 1/64, and then you're going to do the A, B, and C. And once you start doing that, you're going to realize that it didn't matter if you had a bluegrass, a Crappie Man green, a monkey milk, a purple monkey, a Cajun, whatever, on this jig head. Because you're going to put the same thing on this jig head and it's going to catch fish. Or it's not. And you're going to do the same little process of letting it fall past them. Now, this is a very, very slow rate of fall. So it gives a lot more opportunities when they don't want to bite. If these fish are positioned on that brush pile and you throw a 1/64, I mean, this 1/64 is going down like that. Versus you've got his big brother over here, the 1/16, that's just going to fly down. And those fish have more opportunities. Now, remember, crappie are feeders above them. They're not looking down at their toes, you know. They're looking for the bird. so to say. Now, I've had a few bite below. I could probably count them on all my toes. And I got all of them. But a 164 is going to give you more opportunity against fish that don't want to bite. Now, don't get me wrong. If they're biting the 116, do not change. Throw it out there. Repeat your cast. Repeating your cast is something I love to say on this channel. If you get a bite, repeat. If you get another bite, repeat. And repeat till it don't work. So, fall rate is basically the name of the game. This one's going to have a slower fall rate. This one's going to have a faster fall rate. And it's going to affect every little fish's brain that's sitting on that brush pile, whether or not they want to eat your jig or not. Because crappie are ambush predators. They're either going to A, ambush it, or B, you're going to sit it there so long that they're like, well, dang, that's a daggum cheeseburger right there. Let me go eat it. The rate of fall, you know, hopefully you understood it. Hopefully you understood it and you made it this far into the video. Or you just think I'm freaking crazy, either one. But now, the biggest deal with jig heads is profile. It's profile. So we're just going to kind of cover profiles right now. So you've got your hair ties. This is a 1/16 hair tie. Or hair jig, whatever you want to say. This is a hand tie, okay? And, you know, a beautiful jig, beautiful colors. If I was a fish, I would eat it too. But if they think this is too big, too small, whatever, on that given day, they're not going to eat it. So you've got to have something else in your arsenal. So then you pull out a 2-inch soft plastic. Now, you know, 365 days a year, you've got shad about this size swimming around that they're eating. So a 2-inch bait is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You could use this all year long and have success. But there's going to be days where something with a little slimmer profile. Now, this is still a 1/16 ounce head, but it's got a slimmer body and a slimmer tail. Now, this is not a lot of action. We're not really covering action in this video. It's the profile itself, because option A, with a soft plastic, you're going to have a big head on it like that. All right. Now, if you're doing option B, where you put the 164 or 132 on to get a slower rate of fall after the 1/16 don't work, that's going to make your profile just a little bit smaller just by changing the jig head instead of changing the soft plastic. Now, we do sell 1.5-inch minnows that I highly suggest because I've caught thousands of fish on them. And we also have a 1.5-inch swim bait that is very, very, very effective for option C earlier, swimming it over the brush pile. A lot of people sleep on that swim bait. I don't. I stay awake on it. I'm woke. But taking all that into account, the whole gist of this whole entire freaking video right here on Crappie Man Jigs is, don't be afraid to go big, but definitely don't be afraid to go small so you're not missing out on fish tacos. I know you want to throw the 1/16. It feels good when you cast it and it don't feel like you're throwing into the wind. But when those fish don't bite, give them a little something, something.